This movie is about a Tinder date going wilder. It's written by Lena, Waithe. It's directed by Melina. The starring actor is Kaluuya. And yeah, give it up. Melina, and of course Mark Byers. You guys can do better than that. There you go. We're gonna have a quick Q&A. I'm just gonna throw in some questions and I'm gonna throw questions to you guys in the crowd. So first of all, let's start with you, Mr. You don't have a mic yet? Please sort him out. Since we're at Universal.
Now, was Melina first?
I want to start with you.
Okay.
Music and movies. We've seen the soundtrack kind of come back. Anyone who's from the 90s know how big soundtracks were back in the day. So what's happened? Like, why has there been a comeback of movie soundtracks in the late couple of years? When it comes to presenting this movie to people that have to approve and going into cinema and circuit, how difficult is that process, or is it not that difficult at all?
You know, in my past work, it's been really difficult. You know, I like the balance between protest art and entertainment, and I always feel like you can do both. You can move the conversation forward. For me, that's the best kind of art. I think because of the success I've had doing that, and because of the success Lena Waithe had doing that, and even Daniel in his past work, we were kind of ushered in. There was a little bit of a battle about who would do the film. So this was welcome. I think people are seeing the value in our stories and us controlling our narrative. And we didn't have to fight to make it at a studio. I think what we had to fight for mostly was for the world to have access to it.
Sure.
And so we're here and we won that battle.
Thank you for that access.
Thank you.
Daniel, I know you hear this question a lot of times. And I have to ask you, when you choose the roles that you are going to choose, because you've made a lot of movies that are social commentary on the melanated people, especially, and sometimes the non-melanated people. Either way, you're commentating with your roles. Is it hard to choose these roles, or is it something that you go into willingly?
It's just, it feels like why I'm here. It resonates with me. If it hasn't got anything to say, and you're just making a film or making a TV show, I'm kind of not that interested. Do you know what I'm saying? And if I am, I'll do it for an hour. Do you know what I'm saying? You pay me loads of money, I'll do it for an hour. But no, I wouldn't do it. I actually wouldn't do it. Man, if I wanted to make money, I'd work in finance. You know, so. I'm here to say stuff with people that I'm passionate about and I want to work with and collaborate with and grow with, and to teach me stuff that I don't know.
Because here at home, we're making the movies, we're yet to master the soundtrack round.
I mean, it's definitely an insane process.
I can imagine.
A lot of the artists that are on the soundtrack are not signed to us. And then not every label understood the value of their artists being on this particular soundtrack.
So some of the artists are not even signed under Universal?
No, not at all. So, you know, a lot of the artists fought for their position. There's a lot of flat conversations that we have with them and their managers and things like that for them to really understand that this is a purpose project, this is an art project, and, you know, it would behoove you to not be a part of it. You know, so we had that kind of battle because, you know, Lena and Melina put, the painting was already on the wall. We just needed to put a couple extra things on it, but everything was there. So as long as we followed the blueprint that was there, and Motown was picked purposely by Melina as well. So it's different. Like, I don't think another label could have done this soundtrack. I don't think another label means as much to black people as Motown does. I don't think that this film is going to mean as much to people outside of black people. So the synergy of it all made sense. And then you got Daniel coming down the middle where he's had this social commentary in the projects that he's worked on. This is like the icing on the cake, really.
For sure. Melina, you got your hands in everything concerning this movie.
I like to control the narrative.
It's
my movie.
That's really, really beautiful.
That's my designs there. Yeah. I'm also a frustrated A&R, so all the artists are like favorite favorite artists of mine, or people who have influenced me, or just people I love and admire. So it was really beautiful to do this and to come together with Ethiopia and Motown and Mark, and it was just black as fuck.
Just like that.
And we could support each other, and we could do something together, and it had purpose, you know. And it wasn't about like, oh, they have to be on this label or it has to make all this money. It was just like, let's do something for the culture, you know, and let's push it forward. And that's what we're about.
And just to give people here some background, I was researching your rap sheet. You have won some crazy awards, MTV Music Video Awards, she's done commercials. This is your first movie though, right? But she's very accomplished, especially in the music space. So it makes sense why you would be so easy adaptable to being involved in the soundtracking of this movie. So well done. All right, Danny. You're giving me a get out look. How difficult or easy was that task for you, and how did you maneuver that?
Yeah, it's weird. I've been really blessed in terms of benefiting from globalization. So I did this show called Black Mirror. Yeah. So I did that in 2011. 2 weeks work. Came out on Channel 4. Done. I was lucky during that time, so it came out on Netflix. Netflix wasn't a thing. So then Netflix happened in 2014, 2015. And during that time, I didn't compromise. I kept on doing art, shorts, and I didn't sell out and do a show or anything. I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait off. I was getting blocked for leading roles, for a lot of leading roles in film. And because I'm black. And then I was trying to be PC, it is what it is. So I was like, I'm not gonna compromise, because what's the point? Do you know what I'm saying? So Netflix happened, and then a lot of people in America started watching Black Mirror. So then Jordan watched it, and then got me and spoke to me about Get Out, and then I read it, and then it was just kind of all this stuff from whether it's Steve McQueen or it's Ryan Coogler. They had watched stuff I did in 2010, 2011. And I think it's just basically because in that time I just kept on growing. I didn't do anything that made me uncomfortable, even though I didn't have a lot of money. So it was a crazy story where I was in New York for the Manny Pacquiao Mayweather fight. And then I was sleeping on my friend's sofa in Bed-Stuy.
I love these stories.
I was sleeping on my friend's sofa in Bed-Stuy, and then she had a roommate, and then came out the room and was like, wait, are you in Black Mirror? I was like, I don't know, man.
Released into the world, it was one. So we actually had a release date before we started shooting, and we were working towards that the whole time, which put everybody on an intense timeline, including all the artists on the soundtrack, because they had 2 weeks to create and come on board. So it was tight, but it's weird for me coming from videos and everything that has such quick turnaround. It's a long ass time. That's a lot of
I think it's something key to say about their process that they probably don't even know. They kind of refuse to engage with the development stage and the notes and the X, Y, Z, and that can stall a project. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think they really trusted themselves as creatives and said, we're gonna make this, we're gonna shoot this, we believe in this. And so and they went with that energy to the studios. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that had a big contribution to the pace that...
Absolutely. Me and Lena both worked on the script together, and when we felt like it was strong enough, we shopped it around. And we said, you're gonna greenlight this script or not? And they greenlit it.
Sweet, next question.
Hi, my name is Bridget. What's your favorite song on the soundtrack?
I really love the Lauryn Hill record. Tiana Major 9, an artist from London that we signed, Collide, that record's really great. Megan Thee Stallion record is great. The energy is great. And something, it's funny. It's because we had the privilege of watching the film. As the music was coming together, it kind of made you love the music because it had a purpose, it had a fit. So my depiction of why I like it is probably much different than other people from watching it come together, and also watching Melina's tireless fight of making sure that the creative stayed respectfully intact. So you know, it's a different process. I watch filmmakers drop their work off and not really care about where the music sits within the body of work, but Melina cared about the songs, the artists, the merchandise, the photos. You know, thank God for that, you know. And then Daniel, his stories over time is like it's a God sent that he was dropped into this story along with the other stories that he's been dropped in that represent us. So the music represents us too.
Daniel, you were saying which song you like?
For me, for now, it changes, but it would be the Lauryn Hill and Burna. The Burna Boy song's crazy. The Burna Boy song's crazy, but they're the two that, for now, may change in 6 months.
Sweet, one last question before we have to get this proceeding going.
Hi, my name is Lebu. So I just wanted to ask Melina specifically. I know you've said in reference to this film that a lot of your influence in terms of black culture when it comes to videography has been like Hype Williams. And I know that a lot of people also have been talking to Daniel and Melina, you two, about how this film might reference other films like Bonnie and Clyde or Thelma and Louise, but I wanted to ask you specifically, what other films, as in black films or filmmakers, would you say your top 5 have helped create or carve this current moment, this sort of black renaissance, as Waithe kind of calls it? Who are your 5 people that you would call to have said influenced your film?
Yeah, I'll talk about kind of it in twofold. People that have influenced me and people that influenced this film. I always go to Hype Williams because I say he's the godfather of modern day black cinema. Like, I grew up on his work in videos, and Belly was really instrumental in carving my eye and how he celebrated us and our bodies and our culture and portrayed it so authentically, but also really beautifully, even when it was dark. So I'm always gonna go to Belly. Julie Dash and Her Daughters of the Dust is another amazing film that has such influence on me. It really captured a very specific culture and language unapologetically with no translation. And to be a black woman doing that at the helm was really influential. Just other films that have influenced me is Coming to America. I just did this list of like my favorite black films, and that's just one of the best kind of comedy for us. And this film also, you know, it moves through many different genres, and it's at times a comedy. So that is always one of my favorites. Just for that. Oh, we'll go to Spike Lee. Okay, of course. Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, influenced many films, many scenes in this film, particularly there's a riot scene that, you know, we spoke to, and how he's always reflecting the times, you know, and this film, I think, stands on his shoulders and continues that tradition. But I think one of my favorite films of his is really Mo Better Blues, that speaks to music and our culture and how we use that, and that love story too, and the complications of being a black man at the time were really influential. I could keep going, but I won't.
Thank you.
Well done on the movie. You guys can go on that way.